Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our March general meeting. Thanks, Michael. Great turnout. I was 7:30. I was really wondering whether we were going to have a quorum to even hold the meeting, let alone this many people. So everybody, welcome. Apologies, I have the Brumhead family and Dave Richards. Do we have any other? Anybody else? You got Setterfields? Any more? Visitors, new members? Any visitors tonight? Any new members? We have had a couple of new members. We'll get to them a bit later. They've joined. Are you okay? Well, I guess Bruce here could tell us how he's feeling, and it sounds like he's feeling okay at the moment, but he's not looking forward to the next couple of weeks from what he tells me. Is that right? Yep. I've heard nothing about Peter Lambert. Is there anybody that may have been in touch with Peter and can fill us in on how he's getting on? Okay. All right. Thanks, mate. Well, if you let me know, I'll put something in the magazine. I don't know anybody else who's needing special mention tonight. Does anybody know whether there's anybody else who's under the weather? Apart from the standard old age stuff that we're all struggling with? No? All right. So is there any amendments or any business arising from the minutes of the last meeting? No? Can I have a mover then that the minutes of the last meeting be accepted as they were published? Frank out. And a seconder? Stuart. Well done. Okay. Gee whiz. So, President's report. I'll try and keep it brief. The annual tour all appeared to go really well. I was pleased with the way it ended up. We got to see some great displays and sights, and that was all thanks to George and Jackie. We had great company all weekend, as we always seem to do. And I need to thank George and Jackie just once more. And I need to also thank all those who chipped in during the week and helped out, but particularly on the Saturday night dinner serving and the clean-up service. It was an outstanding contribution by a number of people. So you know who you are. Thank you very much once again. We raised $300 towards a local charity in fines, thanks to Mr. Plower and our Sergeant at Arms. Thanks, John. We did another straw poll on the night of the dinner, on the night to hold the dinner for next year, and it was agreed that it remain on Sunday night, not Saturday night. Now, next year's rally will be the weekend before Labor Day, as we agreed back in the December meeting, from Friday the 27th of Feb to Sunday the 1st of March, or the 2nd of March if you're going home on the Monday, hanging around till the Monday. Hopefully this will make it a lot easier to get into venues and sites and to have a look at. And interestingly, it's just about setting concrete already. So I don't know if that contributed or not, but for those who don't know, next year our annual tour will be Echuca, Moama area, and it will be organised and hosted by Bridget and Andrew McDonald. And as I say, they've almost got the whole weekend in setting concrete already. The next meeting, which is April meeting, will be held on Thursday, the 18th of April, here at the club rooms. It won't be on the Friday because Friday's Good Friday. And the April run to the Vietnam Veterans Museum at New Haven on Phillip Island will be Sunday the 13th to get away from Easter and the Anzac Day public holiday. But Pete, I'm sure, will tell us more about that in a little while. And we don't have a run during March because of the annual tour. So lastly, I'm planning the President's Run at the moment. My intention is that it'll be a road trip consisting of around 60 k's of pretty highway in small towns, visiting a site or two on the way, morning tea halfway along, and then a barbecue lunch before calling it a day and heading home. I'll print the details as soon as it's finalised. That's all from me. Yes. Beg your pardon? Next month is the 17th. Quite right. My apologies. So next month is the 17th, not the 18th. If you come on the 18th, you'll be lonely. It will be good. It'll be Good Friday. That'll be after we've had all the hot cross buns. Secretary's report, John.
Thanks, Stu. We couldn't function without you passing the microphone around last time. Just a couple of, there hasn't been a lot of correspondence. No. An update on the National Rally in Griffith later in the year for anyone who's interested. There's about 80 entries so far, which is pretty significant. They're going really well. Entries close on the 11th of April, so if you would like to attend, please get your entry in fairly soon. There's a little bit of information that we'll put in the next magazine about where we're going and what we're doing, but planning's going really well, and I think having 80 cars at this stage is probably a pretty good turn up. The Chrysler Owners Club of Queensland have got their expo in September. Just a bit of early notice there, Sunday the 14th of September, if you want to rush from the National Rally up to Queensland, or vice versa, I should say. I'll leave the flyer out on the table. And probably one other significant thing that you just need to be aware of, we obviously share this parking area and this venue with 8 million other people. And it's really important that we don't park in front of other people's roller doors, or if they've got a bollarded area, that we don't park there. So I just encourage you all to keep that in mind when you're coming to the meeting. We're generally pretty good on a Friday night, and there are some people who work late, and we don't want to be blocking off their driveway or impacting on their entry. So just keep that in mind if you wouldn't mind, please. Last thing, I was looking up some stuff on the internet the other day, and I found the Historical Society has put out a little bit about Richard's Bodyworks and Chrysler in Australia. It's actually quite interesting, so I'll leave it on the table out there if anyone wants to have a look, please do. And I'll put one in the club library as well. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, John. So everybody may have noticed the boom gate on the way in. It will stay open until about 8:30. We do have a code to get in later if we need to, but I would have figured that by 8:30 everybody's coming in. We don't have a code to get out because nobody's supposed to be going out that way, so that solves that issue. So if you go out the other boom gate, it automatically opens as you approach. Kath? Yeah. But did you notice the one they've put in on the entrance? Yeah, well, there's a boom gate at the entrance. And
the neon light that runs up, that's the boom gate.
So it will close tonight at 8:30 automatically. Right.
It's very bright.
You need a better cane, Stu. Kath, go for it.
Okay. As of the end of February, we had in our term deposit $44,761.31. In our trading account, we have $30,880.76. Together with our long-term assets, it's 116028. So our total is $76,810.35. and that tallies with the bottom figure. So we're all good. Okay. Just to let you know that at the moment, after 22 years of treasurer, I finally got scammed. Well, the club did. We currently have an amount of $960 being investigated by the digital fraud team at Westpac. I won't go into the details of it, but they are looking into it for us. Whether we get our money back or not, don't know. But John has sent them a whole heap of emails regarding that amount. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed and see what happens. But I did have a little committee meeting with the committee at the annual tour because I was having a panic attack about it. But yeah, it's just one of those things, unfortunately. So I just thought I'd let the members know about it, and we'll just see what happens.
Thanks, Kath. That's great. So we've got a long list of event reports. Pete, do you want to attend to those one at a time, or do you want to attend to the event reports one at a time, please, mate?
Thank you very much.
Is Andrew? Yes, Andrew's here. So
The fluid drive is the 5th of April, which is always the first Saturday of the month. We're going to Cafe Oggy, which is number one.
Oggy, not Oggy.
Gee, sorry, I'm not Italian. It's number 1 Lakeside Drive, Burwood. It's right on Burwood Highway Road.
Where you used to go to Vic Roads.
So there's plenty of parking there. Should be a good day. April run is the 13th of April. We're going to the Vietnam Veterans. It's 25 Veteran Drive, New Haven. You can make your own way there. Arrive about 10 or 11 in the morning. Tea and coffee is available. You need to purchase it yourself. Lunch is provided, and the entrance is provided. You need to register online. It's $20 per person. But yeah, please register so we know how many are going. And the other thing, last one, is the Hot Cross Bun run, which is April the 18th, Good Friday. Rosella Oval Picnic Area, Brayside Park. Just a word of warning. No animals, no alcohol, in no other order. And in the event that there's a total fire ban, the event won't go ahead. Okay, so that's it.
So the pub lunch, who's Andrew? Do you want to? Hang on, mate. Where's your mic? Where's your microphone?
Sorry, Andy.
That's why you look a bit red in the face, Kath.
Don't eat good either.
Is that why you look a bit red in the face?
All right then. The next pub, the next pub lunch is at Bundura Hotel. So it should be a good venue there. We've been there before. Everybody likes it, so it's good. I'm trying to spread it around town a bit, but yeah, it was good. The last one at the Greyhounds was well attended and had a good meal there. It was good. About it.
Thank you. Garage crawl. Who's got the one organised at the Carpet Place? Is that you, Frank? And have we got a date on that yet?
We've got a garage crawl organised for Knox Carpets, and that will be in May, and that will be the normal Tuesday after the club meeting. So we just need to get some more numbers. Pardon? Oh, I run out of raffle tickets. Oh, well, there you go. We have the second box. Oh, the more.
So that'll be on the normal Tuesday after the Sunday run. No worries. So thank you very much. That's great. Okay, I've covered all those. Communications. Yes. Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So the AOMC's
Oh.
got their next
All
Aussie
Australian.
Classic Car Show on the 30th of March. It's at the Manhattan Hotel. So it's from 8:30 till about 1 o'clock. It's a different format to all of the other events we've had before. It's not a case of turn up in the morning, pay your money, stay all day and then go home when you're allowed. This time you can come and leave whenever you like. It's just a gold coin donation, goes off to the Robert Shannon Foundation to go back into the motoring heritage industry, looking after younger guys that need some to help with the development of skills and so on. But the event is, as I said, a little bit different. It's no longer just Holdens, Fords and Chryslers. It's all of the cars that have really been made in Australia over time. So that includes all of the cars made down in Port Melbourne and so on and so forth. So it's almost any car in Australia. Now it's
all the old Toyotas and all the
all the old
Mercedes and the
Toyotas and
Volkswagens and
Nissans
yep.
and Renaults and all
All the
sorts of things
AMC
that were
stuff.
made. Yep.
Yep.
So it will be a good event if you come along. This being sponsored by Penrite, so there's some prizes to give away from Penrite. So it'd be good if people could come along to that. It's about the only event that the AMC run that's really suited to the Valiants that are in this club. But it's also all the other cars that are not necessarily Valiants, but were made in Australia. So
thanks.
30th of March.
Thanks, Mark. Magazine. No one's put their hand up yet to do a write-up for the annual tour. Do we have any takers? We need. I'd like one person to put their hand up and do a reasonable article on it. Not John. You're happy to do that? All right. Dave's given me a couple of links to photos, so we should be able to get photos. I took some photos. Thank you very much. I'll get a couple of those in a minute. National Rally, there was nothing else to update, just that it closes about April, sometime in April. So if you're still thinking about it, do something about it. And if you've actually registered, make sure you've also found accommodation, because accommodation is slim on the ground. 50th anniversary celebrations and Foundation Day, 19th of October. Pete, other than chasing venues, we don't know much more at the moment. Well, hang on.
Currently, I have 4 different venues and I have the quotes and everything. And I thought Monday night, soon we're having a meeting, we can discuss it and then hopefully decide on which way we're going to go.
Okay. So we haven't finalised anything, but it is happening, and it will happen on the 19th of October. Dave's not here for the merchandise. Sorry, Nigel. Mate, can you stop cuddling the woman and just get on with it? Crying out loud, you've only got one job, Stu.
What he said was he has merchandise up there.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. John's still doing name badges. Yep. So if you need a name badge, just ask Mr. Plowman. New members, Jane and Scott Fraser, who've joined us. 1955 DeSoto Diplomat Plaza. God, they weren't short. They weren't short with their names, were they? And Christopher O'Byrne, 1962 Valiant S Series, 1963 AP5. There you go. That's an early AP5. CPS membership's now overdue. Rachel,
Yeah, so if you haven't paid your membership and you've got a permit, Vic Roads now knows. So we'll see if they action them this year. If they don't, that's lucky for you as members if you haven't paid. But yeah, we can probably take this warning out now because
it's too late.
it's too late.
Yep.
It's
you've
done.
You've
It's
done your
dusted.
dash.
You're on the list.
You've done your dash. So as usual, we're always looking for helpers. And that does include articles for the magazine. And I'm trying to remember who it is that I've talked into giving me their photo and story about their car for this month. No? Someone will come. Oh, yes, Mr. Setterfield. It was Mr. Setterfield. But to be honest, guys, I shouldn't have to approach somebody every month to get an article about a special car. If you've got a special car, surely to Christ you could make the effort of putting your name or a story and a photo forward. That's all it is. Half a page to a page article about how you came by it, what it is, what it means to you, and a couple of nice photos. One really nice one for the back page and one or two smaller ones for the inside. Not asking for you to draw blood or slash a wrist or anything like that. So general business, the next meeting, as we've already pointed out, Thursday the 17th. So remember, it's not going to be on the Friday. Garage gossip. Do we have any garage gossip? Anybody doing anything really interesting?
It's ready to go. As you know, I've got an S Series Valiant, and that car for a long time has had a bit of a problem with it. And that problem is when you drive along the freeway and it's all nice and hot and you stop the vehicle and then you go and restart it, won't start. And a lot of slant motors do this, but doing a little bit of investigation, it's like there is no fuel there. And that's exactly what happens. And believe it or not, it doesn't vaporize. Doesn't vaporize. It's caused by a Chinese, is that all right to say that? Yeah, I suppose it is. A Chinese fuel pump. If you have an original fuel pump that came with the car and you've reconditioned, you don't seem to have the problem. What I did was I put a gauge on, ran the car, just normal stop starting driving, never had a problem. But as soon as you go down the freeway, traveling at 100 Ks or 110 Ks, then you get the pump really hot and the little valves inside sticks. But when it's normal driving, they don't stick, only when it's hot. So it's a little bit hard to get those original pumps. So I thought you have to find a cheap way of doing it. And all I've done is put a one-way valve in front of the carburetor after the filter. Job done. Starts when it's stinking hot, whatever, beautiful. So it's a cheap way. And I think the valve probably cost me $10. So it's another cheap way. It stops it's a one-way valve. So what it does is it stops the fuel from leaking backwards. It will allow fuel that way into the carburetor, and you've got about this much fuel line, and it won't let it go back to the actual. So you've got enough to restart it. Exactly. No, the bowls, there's enough fuel there each time. For some reason, the fuel pump or the fuel seems to drag back and empties the bowl. Yeah. Yeah, well, it doesn't seem to have any fuel to push in there. But what I've done is fixed it. So, yeah, yeah. 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 Yeah, that's right. But this is perfect when the car, if you just go and do some shopping, it's perfect. But it's just when it gets really hot and the engine for half an hour can't start there. And I drove all the way over to Perth and had the problem all the way there, and I didn't drive back. But yeah, so been trying to fix it for a couple of years. But until I put a gauge, I put it on a truck and brought it back. No, because I had to work and I didn't have the time to drive it back. That was the only reason. And they damaged all my push button mechanism. Big truck driver could tell there was a big bloke in there because my center console was pushed that way and the buttons were all broken. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, tried to get the money out of them, but no, they weren't interested. Another one that I've been helping a guy with is brakes on a S-Series Valiant. This guy's taken it to 5 brake companies, and very interesting what I found in the end. The last time he took it to a place and he drove it on one of their club runs, the brakes caught on fire. Like paint came off the drum brakes. That's how hot it was. So what I did was he'd already taken out the master cylinder. I checked the front wheel cylinders. The actual rubbers had gone really hard. So it got that hot. Same with the back. Somebody else said to him the power brake on the vehicle, they reckon that was the problem with it, and could be because I haven't pulled that apart. But when I was putting it all back together, I found something really interesting. The push rod that goes onto the brake pedal arm is too short. Too short. Yeah, yeah. And now we've put in a longer one. It's got beautiful brakes. But anyway, that's what happened.
I won't get into the brake one, but I have to say that I agree with Tony. The carby just doesn't add up because you've either emptied the bowl or you haven't, and it just makes no sense. I don't know why it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just can't, in my mind, work out why it works. Yeah, I understand that, but a check valve won't stop won't affect the float bolt one way or the other. But the check valve's just keeping it in the fuel line. It's not keeping it in the car. Yeah. So, yeah, it wouldn't work. So if it's down low, you reckon it's holding enough in the fuel line? Okay. All right. I'll wear that. Anything else, Michael? Turn it on. No.
Okay, is that better? Right, so we had the same problem at the annual tour with a chap with his red Charger. Now on, I don't know, with the new red Charger. And I can't think of his name, and we're at the event on, I think, the Friday night, dinner.
Robert
Yeah,
Crampton.
and he went to leave and he couldn't get his Charger to start. Now, we
Right.
sat in the car park for probably 30 minutes trying to get his Charger to start with him. And the best we could work out was he went to put fuel in his Charger on the way up and he couldn't get petrol into the tank. Because as soon as he pushed the nozzle and tried to put it in, it just spat back in his face. They said, I must have a tank full of fuel.
Right.
Anyway, he got up there, he parked his car that night at the event, went to start it when he went out in the cool of the night and the car wouldn't start. And the best we could work out was the fact that the tank had either gotten hot and pressurized so he couldn't get fuel in. And then over the course of the cooler evening, the fuel had cooled down and it actually sucked the fuel back out of his carburetor back into his tank. Now, I agree with what you say about the needle and seat, but as soon as the float level drops down because some evaporates, the needle and seat will open, and the fuel, if it cools, it will contract and suck the whole lot back out of the carburetor.
It can't,
Why?
because there isn't a line from the fuel line to the base of the carburetor. The fuel drips in over the needle and seat.
Yeah, the float opens.
There's an inch gap.
Yes, but it's also open the fuel line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, he had no fuel in his carburetor, no fuel in his lines. Probably after 20 minutes of turning over and pumping, he got it to start and it had fuel in it. So
Had he at some point topped up the fuel tank as well?
yes, he had.
Yeah.
Afterwards. Yeah, because you were there as well.
Is Rob here? Is Rob here tonight? Is he? No.
So what happened with Robert is that, yes, he had trouble filling up the car earlier in the day. He went to fill it and it coughed back up. He thought the tank was full. So when I arrived in Ballarat, which was at about 6:30, given it took me 4 hours to get there from Croydon due to the traffic.
You had a good run.
I had a 4 hour run, first gear from Deer Park to Melton. It was a slow run, but it was at 210 degrees, so I was fine. It didn't boil. So when I was heading to my accommodation, I saw Robert on the side of the road with his boot up, standing next to his car. So of course you stop next to an old car that's not going, and he couldn't get his car started. It stopped and it wouldn't start. But his biggest problem was he couldn't get his bonnet open. So he couldn't diagnose what the problem was, couldn't fix anything, couldn't see if it was fuel, lack of fuel, or whether he'd flooded it. So he was stuck. So I headed off to the accommodation, dropped Sarah off, went back to try and sort out Robert. We still couldn't get it started. It certainly sounded like it didn't have fuel. It just wasn't firing as he tried to start it. But without being able to get the bonnet up, no matter what we tried with long screwdrivers and all the rest of it, we couldn't get into the engine bay to properly diagnose it. So I towed him around to the trotting club, was it? Where we had the Friday night dinner, and he parked in the driveway. And crucially, I think he parked heading nose up the hill. Right. So after he came out from dinner, I believe the car did start. Right. But I mean, the car was pointed backwards. He may have had the fuel at the right point where the last little dribble in the tank was enough to get the car started. And he went and filled it up and had no problem for the rest of the weekend. So I don't think it was a case of
Overheating.
Overheating as such. I think he was just out of fuel.
Yep.
But he did the whole weekend knowing that he was never going to be able to get under the bonnet until he got home, and spend hours trying to work out how to get the bonnet open. Oh yeah, I mean, but who's got a fuel gauge that works? Yeah, that started when they started building DeSoto's.
Thanks, Mark. Anything else? Anyone else got a?
On that subject of fuel,
Yeah, go on, Tony.
I've got about half a dozen whiskey bottles, screw-on caps, with petrol in them. And I don't even attempt to start the engine if the car's been sitting for 3 days or 4 days. Open the bonnet, pour a bit of fuel in the carburetor without even taking the air filter. I've got little holes around the wing nut. Dribbles down. By the time I get in the car, turn the key, bang, off it goes first up. Otherwise, it's crank till your battery's flat, because the fuel hasn't got the old-fashioned lead in it. It's got some other chemical, and it just dries up. The lead in the petrol used to prevent it drying up. You'd leave it for 6 months and then come back and start it.
Carby cleaner works just as well, and it's easier to store.
Sorry?
Carby cleaner works just as well, and it's easier to store.
To start it.
To start it, squirt a bit in.
That's
So
right.
past the wing nut on the.
Yeah,
air filter.
sure.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly the same.
You need
Yep.
something to prime it. That's
Yeah,
basically
absolutely.
what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only an Italian will have 6.
Yes. Rachel's got another event that she wants to promote.
So seeing as we don't have a club run this weekend, if you're looking for something to do, Rosebud Rock and Rods Festival is on. That's down at Eastbourne Primary School in Rosebud. So all proceeds go to help support the Rosebud Hospital. Show and shine, stalls, displays and food, rock and roll dance if you're inclined, along with a DJ. Displays and stalls. So we'll be down there supporting Rosebud Hospital. So yeah, it doesn't have a time on this. 10 a.m., $10 entry. See you there. Show cars are free. If you're walking in, it's $10, but reach into your pocket for the hospital anyway.
Thanks, Rach. Cars and parts, anybody flogging anything off? Yep.
Had a
Ken.
phone call from Tony Seychelles. He said to say good day to everybody. Chasing a crank. I don't know about these things. I wrote it down. A crank for a 360 LA.
Right.
Okay.
Steve's got
Steve,
one.
no worries. Actually, I said just
He said send him down in the morning. You can pick it up.
If not, Steve will take it to his place.
That's okay. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yep. Mr. Platt.
I've got an engine crane, 2-ton engine crane for sale. It's got the extendable legs on it, so it's a very stable thing. So $240.
Have you put another head gasket on yet? You have. No. Have you done it? But you've done it. Yeah. Okay. So what do you think went wrong? Why? Sorry, Roger.
It hadn't been retooled.
Ah.
Yeah.
So who
I was gonna
forgot to do that?
Do it after this short drive I'd done, but too late.
Too late. So how much driving had you done? 100K, that's all. Wow.
So now I'm going to start it up, bring it up to temperature, and then retool, and that'll be it.
Well, someone here, I'm sure, is going to correct me and tell me how foolish I am, but we did a head gasket on a Nissan Navara, a head on a Nissan Navara, the last year diesel, in about three weeks ago, and we replaced it with a brand new head, but I wasn't going to pull the motor out to do anything with it, decking the block, so I went really old school and did what I've done in the past is I went to the hardware store and bought the dustiest can of Silver Frost at the back of the shelf, drained off all the paint and painted the top of the block with Silver Frost 2 or 3 coats and whacked the head on. So it's done a few 100Ks just test driving and it's not leaking, so we'll see how it goes. But we're discussing all the possible gasket sealants we could use, and I thought, I know this has worked in the past, so this will do.
So just another thing on head gaskets. In the old days, with the asbestos gaskets, you definitely had to retension the head after getting it hot. But also remember, you need to release the radiator cap when you do this, and you only undo one nut at a time and then crack it off and then tension it. Another thing with late model cars, there's no retensioning of heads. Now, if the head gasket is being changed to a late type head gasket, not sure how you can tell whatever. But maybe you don't have to retension them.
Well, there is no way known I would try and retension these bolts. The tension sequence is 70 pound across all of them. Then 3/4 of a turn, and then 3/4 of a turn again.
Yeah, that's obviously a new type head gasket.
Yeah, I reckon those bolts must be an inch longer than what they started.
Did you measure them before when you took them out to make sure they hadn't stretched? Or you bought all new bolts?
No, I
in?
bought all new bolts. Put
Yeah,
new bolts in.
best idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And another thing, just
wouldn't
with
be
head
going-
gaskets and that, you can buy a spray, which is probably, and you can spray the head and the block and then put the head on that and tension it down. And that's another good idea for old cars.
Yeah,
Don't do that with
we
my
were
old cars.
tossing up with all those like Hylamar and that, but I wanted something that was a bit thicker than contact adhesive, which is basically what Hylamar is.
On the subject of heads, question is, did you have it round, round or whatever? You didn't. Well, I can't answer anything there because you've got a very good head. Before. Well, that's the point I'm making. And it's been a pet hate of mine for the last 50 years or more. I will not let any workshop or engine rebuilder touch my head or block unless they've got a milling machine, a proper head miller. This old grinder, the old Repco grinder, they throw the head on the damn thing. They don't use a dial indicator, so how do they know it's parallel to what their stone? Then they start it, bang, bang, in about 3 seconds, it's all done. And what they've actually done is destroyed your head. They warp it 6 thou, and the limit is 4. Yeah? Believe me, unless they know exactly what they're doing with that machine and have the coolant running, they'll destroy your head and the block. So if you've had it ground recently, check the block as well, because it'll probably be distorted, because those gaskets, I've never had to retorque a head for 50 years or more. Okay, but the concept still applies. Yeah. Yeah, so be careful when it's engine reconditioning. They don't have a proper milling machine.
All right, anybody else got something they want to add to that? Cars, home?
I don't want to hear about another head again, but I got something to sell.
Yep.
Extractors. I found a couple of sets of extractors around the back. They're both new for Hemis. I think one set is probably for a Centura, and the others are tuned the extractors for a more Valiant sedan. So Centura extractors will fit on a Valiant, but Valiant extractors won't fit on the Centura. They're all the same. 245, 265.
Can I ask why?
Because there's not enough room in the engine bay for a Centura, that's all. So if you'd like a nice, tight, efficient set of extractors, Centura extractors are good. These other ones poke out and they're, as I say, they're tuned, so every pipe is the same size. Probably pretty fancy ones, but anyway, so they're for sale. And also, I don't know how much they're worth, probably $100 each set of extractors. Well, I'm cheap. I am Mr. Cheap. CLCM rear bumpers. There's about 3 or 4 out there. I'm never going to have another CL or CM again. So anybody wants a nice cheap bumper, rear bumper, got them. Probably a VH or a G, VH or what's the next one?
K.
K. HJK. One of those back bumper for one of those, which also fit on the Charger. That it. Probably the bumpers. There, one's got a little dent in it, $50 to $100 depending on the condition. Again, cheap. Good, okay. There we go.
All right, sorry, Mick.
Hi, as you get older, you forget things, right? The first thing I forgot is, are you well? Paul Wiley's wife is pretty crook because she's not going to come out of hospital, right?
Okay.
So,
All right.
no, it's not good at all. So I've forgot about that. I'm sorry. The other thing is it's for a club member. I won't mention his name's not his fault, but he asked me to restore a radiator for him, which I did. And, I got my friend to do it, redid the core, everything. It's not a new core, but it's virtually perfect. It's the job he's done on it. It's a small block, Chrysler, Dodge, small block. And, he had a 383 and I forgot he had a 383. So I've got plenty of them, but anybody wants a really, as new radiator for a small block Dodge, I've got one. Well, $500 complete without the cap.
Thank you. All right, well, we're
I've got
done
a
and
cap for
dusted.
I've got a cap for one of those, $150.
If we're done and dusted, we don't have a speaker tonight, so we'll go to the raffle. Thanks to Kath for grabbing some prizes. Thanks to Bursons and Rachel for getting more prizes. And the white ticket is, come on, number 8. There we go. Over here.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Oh, sorry, it's 11. My apologies.
You read the B.
Well,
Sorry, Lynn.
bad luck. Number 11, Steve. Okay.
Does anyone want any more raffle tickets?
Just the winner, mate.
Oh, thanks.
A54. That'll be a red ticket, I think. Oh, they're the. No, you're right. Yep. So what's the next one? Oh. What's the next number?
No, she's given up because like she's. Here we go.
I think that was the one. B24. No, yeah, no, it's out there some, no, it's not. GB, is that a B48? B48?
Yeah.
No, A38? No, A38 still here. A55 still here. B2. B2, yellow 2. B37. No, B37 is still here. B50. Yep, B50. B50 is out there somewhere. Here we go.
Getting there. A10.
Sorry.
A10.
A10. A10.
Yes. A18. A18.
Yep. A18. Here we go. Just checking to see if it was still there.
A29.
No, yep, it's still here.
B49.
B49. B49. Looks like it's out there. Steve, again. Rigged. A40, no, it's not mine. A48. A48. Red ticket, here we go.
A30.
Uh,
Oh wait, you have A39?
I have A39. I don't know, gang. So, what is it, A30?
Yep.
A32? I don't care, just give me something. A32, no, A32. Out there somewhere. Frank, beautiful. Circuit tester, you're a good girl.
That's it.
Is that the last one?
Excellent.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your attendance and enjoy a cup of coffee. Thank you to the ladies who got it all ready for us. Have a nice evening.